Hello, and thanks for tuning in to Town Meeting TV's coverage of primary elections 2026. My name is Debbie Ingram. This program is part of a series of informational shows hosted by Town Meeting TV in advance of the primary election on Tuesday, August 11th of this year. These programs are made possible by Town Meeting TV's generous underwriting partners. You can find all our forums and election programs at cctv.org/primary or on our Town Meeting TV YouTube channel, where auto-generated captions are available. If you're tuning in on YouTube, be sure to click the subscribe button so that you can stay tuned into local democracy for the entire election season. Now, on today's program, I will be doing a summary of the candidate races that voters in Chittenden County and Grand Isle will be voting on. I've heard from lots of folks over the years that sometimes it's difficult to find information about the full picture of who will be on the primary ballot. So we at Town Meeting TV want to give you an overview to enable you to make informed decisions when you vote. Now remember that primary elections are basically designed to help the political parties come up with their nominees. You can vote in whichever primary you want, whichever party you want, but you can only pick one. So if you show up in person, they'll give you 3 ballots, but you'll only fill out 1. If you get it mailed to you, you'll have 3 ballots, but you can only fill out 1. So you have to pick Democratic or Republican or Progressive. So let's just dive right in, and there are lots of different people you can vote for on August 11th. So we'll just dive in and see who those candidates are. So we'll start here with the Democratic ballots first. And this is Chittenden County's state's attorney race. The incumbent there is Sarah George. This is the attorney that decides on who to prosecute. It's called a district attorney in many other states. But anyway, Sarah George is the incumbent, and she's being challenged by Bram Kranichfeld, who has been, he was appointed state's attorney in Franklin County. So he also has experience in being a state's attorney. So next we have the Democratic candidates for governor. Now there are 2 this year, Amanda Janu and Allie Richards. Both of them are new to elected office, but they will be running against each other. And then for lieutenant governor, the Democrats are running 3 different people. Esther Charleston, who had run for governor 2 years ago, Ryan McLaren, who used to work for Peter Welch, and Molly Gray, who served already as lieutenant governor, but she's not the incumbent because she did not run 2 years ago, but she ran 4 years ago. So she has had experience as the lieutenant governor. So also you can, if you're voting Democratic, you can vote for the Attorney General, Charity Clark. She is the current Attorney General. She is not being opposed by anybody. Now, the Democratic Auditor of Accounts is actually an open seat. Doug Hoffer has been the auditor, and he is not running for re-election. So there are 3 people running for that seat. Nicholas Grader, Dan Toll, and Tim Ash. Tim Ash is actually the Deputy Auditor of Accounts now. And for high bailiff, now this is one of those things that people don't really quite know what a high bailiff is, but actually the position is, it sort of steps in for the sheriff if there is a conflict of interest for the sheriff. So if the sheriff themselves were about to be arrested or a member of their family, then the high bailiff would take over and arrest that person. Or if the sheriff is unable to complete their duties, then the high bailiff would step in. So it's not something that is made use of frequently, but it is a position that we get to vote for. So there are 4 people running for the Democratic nomination: Helene Laney Rappaport, Paul McManus, Amy Payne, and Michael Mikey Roberts. Now the sheriff, the county sheriff itself, Daniel Gamelin is running again for re-election, and he's being challenged by Kevin Bloom. Now, our representative to Congress, this is to the United States Congress, and we get to vote on that position every 2 years. That's everybody, every state in the union, everybody at the national level, in the House anyway, gets up for re-election every 2 years. And our incumbent representative is Becca Ballant. The Democratic Secretary of State is also an incumbent, and she is not being challenged by any other Democrat. That's Sarah Copeland Hansis. And the Secretary of State handles elections and all kinds of administrative things, registering businesses and things like that. So it's a very administrative, managerial kind of position. So now we will move into the General Assembly, to the Vermont State House, the legislature. And our House has 150 seats. Each seat represents roughly about 4,000 constituents. Now, Chittenden and Grand Isle take up a very large chunk of that. Out of those 150 seats, there are 40 seats that are for those counties. So it's almost a third of the House. So it's important, and these districts, if you need to try to figure out what district you're in, we'll show you that at the end of the at the end of this program. You can go to the Secretary of State's website to figure out exactly what district you will be voting for. So we'll start off with Chittenden 1. Jana Brown is the incumbent for that seat. Then we will go on to Chittenden 2. This is Williston. So Angela Arsenault and Aaron Brady, they are the two representatives currently from Williston. And in Chittenden 3, which is the Jericho Underhill area, Edie Granning and Trevor Squirrel are the two incumbents. In Chittenden 4, Kelly Pastoris is running. That is a seat that I think this is one of those seats that has the incumbent has decided not to run again. That's the Heinsberg area, and that incumbent was Phil Pouch, but he has decided not to run. So Kelsey is throwing her hat in the ring. And Chittenden 5 is the Charlotte area. This is Che Waters Evans, and she's an incumbent. In Chittenden 6, that's the Shelburne area, and Kate Lally is the incumbent, and she does have she will have a Republican challenger. In Chittenden 7, which also encompasses parts of Shelburne, there's one seat there, and that's Sean J. Sweeney is the incumbent. In Chittenden 8, that is actually an interesting district because it's mostly South Burlington, but a part of Williston was broken off and is in that district now also. And Bridget Burkhart is the incumbent. Now, some of these will have, we'll get to the Republicans in a minute, but some of these, especially in Chittenden County, the Republicans, it's just a fact, don't always run people in every district, but some of these will. So I'll try to note that for you if you are deciding whether you want to vote in the Democratic or the Republican primary. And then moving on then to Chittenden 9, which is South Burlington. Emily Krasnow is the Democrat who's running for re-election. In Chittenden 10, also a different part of South Burlington, Kate Nugent is the incumbent running again. In Chittenden 11, also part of South Burlington, Brian Minier is running. He's the incumbent. And another South Burlington district, District 12, Chittenden 12, Martin J. Lalonde is running again for re-election. In Chittenden 13, now some of the seats are bigger, and or some of the districts are bigger, and they have 2 seats instead of 1. So this is a 2-seat district. and this covers parts of Burlington. Now, Bram Klepner is running for re-election. He's an incumbent. But Tiff Bloomley was the person who was holding the other seat in that district, and she has decided not to run for re-election. So Karen Paul, who's a former Burlington City Council member and candidate formerly for mayor, she is running for the other seat in that district. In Chittenden 14, so another interesting thing has happened here. This is actually that district. Actually, I think we say that it's one seat, but it's actually two seats. But right now, there's only one Democrat who's been recruited to run there. What happened was the session went so long this year that it was over just barely before the deadline for getting your name in to qualify for the primary. And several people who could have run again, who were holding some of those seats, decided really at the last minute not to run again. So there was not enough time to try to recruit other Democratic candidates to fill in those seats. So we have the kind of unusual thing because Democrats like to try to run candidates for every single seat in Chittenden County. But there are a couple of them that don't have the full, the full gamut of people running. So that two-seat district is only being run in by Adam Franz. Another two-seat district, though, Chittenden 15, has Brian Chena, who's an incumbent, and there is no. The other seat is held by an independent who often caucuses with the Democrats. So there's no separate Democrat running in that district. They're both incumbents. Okay, in Chittenden 16, again, it's a two-seat district, but only one person is running. This is the one that this is the district that had been held by Jill Krawinski, who was the Speaker of the House, and by Representative Kate Logan, and both of them decided not to run again. So Jeffrey Peterson so far is the only person to step up for one of those seats. But the Democrats, I have had conversations with folks, and they are intent on recruiting other people for those districts where they currently don't have the the full the full district slate there. They are either going to have people write in, or there is the option of the party committees nominating somebody. They have to do that by August 17th. So they have like almost a week after the primary is over to select their candidates in a different way. So a little inside baseball for you with how the party nominations work. All right, so moving on then to Chittenden 17. That's another part of Burlington, and it's currently held by Abby Duke, and she is running for re-election. And in Chittenden 18, so north end of Burlington, we have three people running for two seats. Amy Bulowski Branch, Carol Odie is running for re-election. She's an incumbent. And then Allie Zhang, who has been on the city council in Burlington in the past. That was a seat is available there because it was vacated by Kevin Scully, which was a person that Governor Scott actually appointed because he wasn't going to run again. Governor Scott wanted that in place. So there you have it in that district. Okay, so in Chittenden 19, there are two seats there, and Sarita Austin is an incumbent, as is Wendy Critchlow. They're both running for re-election. In Chittenden 20, again, both people are running for re-election. It's a two-seat district. Doug Bishop and Gail Pezzo are the incumbents. That's the Colchester area. Chittenden 21 is in Winooski, and that's three people running for two seats. Daisy Berbecco is the incumbent, and she's running for re-election. And then we have Al Turcos, who just stepped down from the Winooski City Council, and Matt Guile, who has served on the Winooski School Board, as people stepping up into this race. That the one seat was vacated by Representative Chloe Tomlinson. She decided not to run for re-election. So Chittenden 22 is again a two-seat district. Karen Dolan is the incumbent and is running again, as is Lori Houghton, an incumbent and also running again. And then Matthew Parker Townsend is challenging in that. In Chittenden 23, there are two seats, and the incumbents are running again, Leonora Dodge and Ray Garofano, and this is Essex Town that district covers. And then in Chittenden 24, which is also Essex Town, a different part of it, there's one seat, and Alyssa Black is running for re-election. In Chittenden 25, that's one seat, and that's mostly the kind of Westford, Milton area. And so Julia Andrews is challenging. That seat is actually held currently by a Republican, and so Julia Andrews is the Democrat challenging. And then in the Chittenden Franklin district, there are two seats. And those two seats are held currently by Republicans, but the Democrats are running challengers. Henry A. Bonges III and Natalie Cashin will be the Democratic nominees. And then in the Grand Isle Chittenden district, this will be again Republican. Well, there's one Republican who is an incumbent who will be running. There was a seat vacated by another incumbent, Representative Leland Morgan, but the Democrats are again running two challengers. One is Sylvia Jensen, and one is Dave Skinner, and that's the sort of Isle Lamont, Grand Isle area. So now we will move over to the Senate. Now the Senate in Vermont is made up of 30 people, and each district for a senator is comprised of about 20,000 people. And the Chittenden Grand Isle counties are covered by, they cover 7 of the 30. So again, a large percentage from this part of the state. A little less than a quarter of all the senators are from our area. Now these districts are, there are 2 that are 3 seats, and there are 2 that are 1 seat. So we'll start with Chittenden Central, and that is a lot of that is Burlington and Essex and South Burlington, and so we have Tanya Vahovsky and Martine Gulick as the 2 incumbents in that district. Now, the 3rd senator had been Senator Phil Baruth, who was the president pro tem of the Senate, and he has decided not to run for re-election. So a couple of other people have thrown their hats into the ring. So we have Nikhil Goyal and Elaine Haney, who both of whom have been around the political scene, and they are running for that. They're one of the 2 of the people running for the 3 seats in that district. And then in Chittenden North, there is the incumbent is not running again. The incumbent was Senator Christopher Mattos, a Republican. So the Democrat trying to claim that seat is Irene Renner. Now, Irene Renner had held that seat actually 2 years ago, or 4 years ago, I guess, was when she was first elected. So she didn't serve this last biennium. She was defeated, but she's trying again to come back to the Senate. She has held that seat in the past. But there is another Republican who is running against her. And then moving on to another large district. So this is Chittenden Southeast. There are 3 seats in this district. This covers kind of a little tiny bit of Burlington, but mostly, Williston, Hinesburg, Richmond, Shelburne, the other parts of the county. And the three incumbents are all running for re-election. They are Thomas Chittenden, Keisha Ram Hinsdale, and Jenny Lyons. But they are being challenged by Elizabeth Ann Hunt and Joanna Grossman. Joanna has been very active in the party, in the Democratic Party, and has been running other people's campaigns for a long time. And then Elizabeth Hunt is pretty much new to politics, but she is a medical doctor, and she's the only medical doctor that I know of who is running for the legislature. So that'll be an interesting race. And then in Grand Isle, that is one seat, and that is currently held by a Republican. But Kim Gleason is stepping up as the Democrat, and she'll go through and face Pat Brennan in the general election. Okay, so now back to one of the statewide races. This is the statewide treasurer, the state treasurer, and Mike Pichak is the Democrat who is the incumbent, and he's running again for re-election. And so now that's all the Democrats, really. So we really only have one independent, that is Troy Hedrick, and he's in Chittenden 15, which is part of Burlington. So he's an incumbent. He's running for re-election. And so now we'll move to the Republicans. So like I said before, you can only vote for one party, for the candidates in one party, but it's totally open. When you register to vote in Vermont, you don't register by party. So in any given election, any given primary election, you can vote for whichever party you choose, but only one. So the Chittenden North challenger that I was mentioning before, trying to take over from Christopher Matos, who is not running for re-election. This is Ashley R. Bartley. And so we have an interesting phenomenon in the Republican Party at the state level. For many of the state offices, there is one man who puts his name in the ballot for many of these offices, and that is perfectly legal to do in Vermont. So you'll see H. Brooke Page running for Attorney General, for Auditor of Accounts. And he's not running for governor, so Phil Scott, but he is running for some other things. We'll get to him again in a minute. But for governor, so of course, our very long-serving governor, Republican, Phil Scott, is running again for re-election. This would be his 6th term, and that would make him the longest-serving governor if he winds up serving 12 years. Could be somewhat historic. And then for lieutenant governor, Republican, the current lieutenant governor is John S. Rogers. He's a Republican now. He was a Democrat before. He served in the Senate for many years as a Democrat, but he's a Republican, and he won 2 years ago, and so he's running again for re-election. For representative to Congress, now these are two folks who are vying for one position that would be to run against Becca Balint in the general election. So it's Mark Kester and Gerald Malloy. And then here's Brooke Page again. H. Brooke Page is also running for Secretary of State. Now, moving on to these are the state reps. So this is the House. Republicans do not generally field candidates for every single Chittenden County district. As we all know, currently in politics in Chittenden County, Democrats and progressives seem to have a leg up, but Republicans run where they can find good candidates. So in Chittenden 6, Deb Mayfield is running. In Chittenden 8, Mitchell Sipes is running. In Chittenden 19, which is kind of the Colchester area. Alex Tebow is running. In Chittenden 20, Doug Wood is the Republican, and then there's not another Republican running in that, even though it's a 2-seat district. In Chittenden 22, there are 2 Republicans that are running for those 2 seats. So Brent Borger and Seth Adam Manley are both running. In Chittenden 23, we have, again, Republicans running. This is Essex Town. So Pearl Lucero Beckage and Lynn U. Smith. In Chittenden 25, that is actually currently, that's the sort of Westford Milton area, and that is currently held by Brenda Steady, a Republican, and she is the incumbent running for re-election. In the Chittenden-Franklin district, we have two incumbents running, both Republicans. This is the Milton area. So Camellia Case Long and Anthony Tony Miklas are running for re-election. And in Grand Isle, Chittenden, we have, this is where there is, there were 2 Republicans. Representative Leland Morgan decided not to run again, but I believe it's his cousin, Michael Morgan, holds the other seat in that district, and he is running for re-election. And the Republicans are also running Josie Henry. Okay, so now we'll move on to the Senate. Again, not a stronghold for Republicans in the Senate, but they are challenging. So Bruce Roy, who is from Williston and has run, who ran 2 years ago for the state Senate, is running again, and Javin Sears is also running. Javin is actually a young, recent UVM graduate. Just throw that in. So in the Grand Isle district, this has been taken over by a Republican, by Pat Brennan, after Dick Mazza passed away. And Pat is running for re-election. And here we go again with a statewide office that H. Brooke Page is running for as a Republican. So I should also mention the progressives. Now, it is true in Vermont that very frequently people who consider themselves to be members of the Progressive Party do run in the Democratic Party primaries, but they sometimes choose to run separately. So there are 2 people, 2 progressives, who have chosen to run in the progressive primary for 2 of the statewide offices. One is the Secretary of State, and that is Rachel Shaw. And then the other is for treasurer, and that is Zachary Hampel. So those are actually the only 2 running in a separate progressive primary. I think that we may have gone through all of our races now. So so we hope that is helpful to you. And I want to just tell you a couple of other things about voting in Vermont. We try to make it here in Vermont. We try to make it as easy as possible. So if you don't know exactly which district you live in, you can, and you don't know where your polling place is and all those kinds of things, you can go straight to the Secretary of State's website. And let me bring that up. There is a Vermont voter portal on the Secretary of State website. And when you go there, you can, if you go there for the first time, you put in your name and your birth date and your town of residence, and either your driver's license number or the last 4 of your social, and then you'll have your very own page going forward for every election, and you can find out if you should order an absentee ballot, you can. It'll have a whole history of all the elections that you voted in. It'll give you your polling place information. It'll tell you all the elected officials that currently serve you. It'll give you sample ballots. It gives you all kinds of great information. So I would really encourage you to go there, and if you have any confusion at all, about exactly what district you're in and who then your candidates would be, or where your polling place is, those are probably the most important things. Then all that will be cleared up for you, and you can do your civic duty, but also I hope that you think of it as something that you really enjoy doing. And I know it can feel a little bit daunting sometimes doing the research to know who to vote for. But I think we really all need to participate. It's our right as citizens, and it's something that is really a privilege to be able to weigh in on the decisions that are made that affect all the people in our communities. So thank you for tuning in to Town Meeting TV's ongoing coverage of local candidates, budgets, and ballot items. You can find this and many more forums at cctv.org/primary or on our Town Meeting TV YouTube channel. And don't forget to cast your ballot on or before August 11th. We do have early voting in Vermont also, so actually I think early voting starts on June 30th, so you have about 6 weeks to vote, but your last chance is on August 11th. And then be sure to tune in to Town Meeting TV's primary results recap show, which will be the following day, August 12th in the afternoon. And I will be there with Bobby Lucier. We'll be giving you all the results. Contact your local clerk to find out how to obtain a ballot and to register to vote, or also go to that Secretary of State website as I showed you. And you can even register to vote on Election Day in Vermont. So we have same-day registration. So if you haven't registered yet, you can do that very easily. So thank you very much for watching and sharing Town Meeting TV.